Brazil once had a player who was born with serious deformities in his legs, and yet he made the entire world fall in love with football. Today in modern football, almost nothing escapes the lenses of countless cameras, but in the middle of the last century, the game still carried a sense of mystery. Many stories from that era even feel mystical, and the players are often compared to mythological heroes. One of the most enigmatic and inexplicably brilliant figures was Manuel Francisco dos Santos, known to fans simply as Garrincha. In today's video, we're telling the story of the crooked-legged angel, who, despite serious health problems, conquered the world with his carefree and completely unique style of play. Mané Garrincha's story begins in the town of Pau Grande, in the state of Rio de Janeiro. From an early age, it was clear that life hadn't been kind to him. He was born with a spinal deformity and pelvic issues, and his left leg was 6 centimeters shorter than his right. On top of that, his family lived in deep poverty, so he had to start earning money at a young age. Football became his only escape. He played in the streets and also for a textile factory team. During one of those amateur matches, former Botafogo player Arati noticed Mané and was so impressed that he convinced him to attend a tryout with the Brazilian giant. Fighting through his nerves, 19-year-old Garrincha arrived at the training ground of the Lone Star, where fans traditionally gathered to watch. When people saw his awkward build and unusual walk, they could barely hold back their smiles. They simply didn't believe he could even run, let alone play football. For the crowd's amusement, Botafogo coach Gentil Cardoso decided to match the unknown kid from the provinces against Nilton Santos, Brazil's best left-back at the time. What the spectators witnessed was extraordinary. Garrincha got the ball, and with one quick move, put the national team defender on the ground, then kept doing the same to everyone else. Nilton later recalled, "When I came up to Mané, he pushed the ball between my legs and just vanished. I tried to chase him, lost my balance, and fell." Botafogo signed him immediately. In his debut match, he scored a hat-trick. In his first full season, he scored 20 goals in 26 matches, even though his main role was to create chances from the right wing. His performances were stunning for a player his age. And he could have gone to the 1954 World Cup, but the spot went to the more experienced Julinho. At the next World Cup, though, the Botafogo right winger could not be ignored. By then, Mané was already a star of the Brazilian Championship and had won the state title with the Lone Star. Still, at the 1958 World Cup, he started on the bench and didn't play in the first 2 games. Before the match against the Soviet Union, Nilton Santos and Didi convinced national team coach Vicente Feola to trust not only the young Pelé, but also Botafogo's extraordinary attacking leader. Garrincha stepped onto the field and immediately began tearing apart the Soviet defense. In the very first minute, he dribbled past 3 players and hit the post. And in the 3rd minute, he helped create the move that led to a goal against Lev Yashin. A French journalist later called that stretch the 3 greatest minutes in football history. In that match, he produced several more dazzling runs and never left the starting lineup again, as Brazil marched to the title. The Seleção beat Wales, France, and Sweden, and the partnership between Mané and Pelé became the revelation of the tournament. Both were named to the team of the tournament. Welsh defender Mel Hopkins later said, "Garrincha was even more dangerous than Pelé. He was a true phenomenon, capable of creating magic on the field. Because of the shape of his legs, it was almost impossible to predict which way he would go." If in Sweden he was one of several stars, 4 years later the tournament belonged entirely to him. When Pelé was injured in the second match, Mané became the central figure of the Seleção. He delivered brilliant assists and scored consistently. In the semi-final, he scored twice against Chile, and his performance against England in the quarterfinal is often described as the best individual display of his career. According to legend, before that match, a Brazilian journalist told Garrincha that an English player named Flowers had promised to stop him. When Mané replied that he didn't even know what Flowers looked like, Nilton Santos jokingly suggested he should just dribble past everyone. That way, he'd definitely get the right guy. Whatever the truth, Garrincha walked onto the field full of passion and dismantled the English defense. Along with his dazzling dribbling, he provided an assist and scored twice against the 3 Lions. Moreover, one of the goals the Brazilians scored, almost as if mocking them, came in true English fashion, with a header. After the match, the football world was captivated by his genius. England coach Walter Winterbottom admitted, "For 4 years I prepared my boys to beat football teams, I did not expect we would have to deal with Garrincha. Brazil went on to win their second straight World Cup. Garrincha was recognized as the best player of the tournament, and with 4 goals, shared the top scorer title. Headlines around the world asked, "What planet is Garrincha from?" World headlines captured the same thing: pure awe at the crooked-legged angel. But if Mane looked almost godlike on the pitch, off it, he was anything but a saint. He loved women and alcohol just as much as he loved football, and he constantly gave in to temptation. Garrincha had at least 14 children with different partners, and from a young age, it wasn't unusual for him to drink an entire bottle of rum in a single day. And even from a young age, drinking a bottle of rum a day was normal for him. Eventually, this lifestyle led to his departure from Botafogo in 1966. After scoring 232 goals in 581 matches over 13 seasons with the Lone Star, the club decided it was time to move on. An offer from Corinthians came at the right moment. Although he played only 13 matches for his new team, he still went to another World Cup despite being past his peak. At that tournament, he reminded everyone of his talent with a brilliant outside-of-the-foot goal against Bulgaria. Even so, Brazil failed to make it out of the group. It is hard to believe, but the loss to Hungary was the first time the Seleção had ever been defeated with Mane on the field, and it symbolically became the final match of his international career. In total, he finished with 50 caps and 12 goals for Brazil. After that World Cup, his career essentially faded away. He barely played professionally for nearly 2 seasons, then returned, but over the next 4 years he appeared in fewer than 50 matches for Atletico Junior, Flamengo, and Olaria. After retirement, financial problems began. On the field, he was a genius, but in life, he often acted carelessly, almost like a child. He never studied the contracts he signed, never used agents, and never tried to profit from football. To him, it was simply a game. Fans admired his generosity. Even though fans admired Garrincha's selflessness, that mindset ultimately backfired on him. Once he hung up his boots, he burned through his limited savings fast and was left almost broke, and that only pushed him deeper into drinking. In the end, it led to a serious illness and his early death at just 49. No one in the history of football has made more people happy than Garrincha. When he started playing, the pitch felt like a circus ring. The ball was a tamed animal, and the match itself felt like a party. That's how Uruguayan writer Eduardo Galeano described the feeling of watching Mane. Of course, there's no doubt Garrincha would have achieved even more if alcohol hadn't been such a problem in his life. But even with that destructive habit in the background, he became a truly era-defining figure. Yes, in terms of global popularity, Pelé clearly outpaced his national team teammate. But for Brazilians, Mane isn't just a cult icon, he's genuine folklore, a character people talk about like a legend. And even though Garrincha didn't live a long life, his name will live forever, because people never forget the ones who even once made them truly happy.